The Welsh Master is a non-profit fan cosplay channel. Doctor Who is owned by the BBC and in partnership with Bad Wolf Productions and Disney. Please support the official release. The following video will contain spoilers from the first season of Doctor Who 2024. Viewer discretion is advised. I see. So if I was to reverse the polarity of the neutron flow, I would have the shields up in time so I wouldn't have any pest problems like the Doctor did. Silly bugger. Oh, hello there. I didn't hear you come in. So the first season of Doctor Who came to a conclusion with the Empire of Death. And even though I didn't make any sort of appearance whatsoever this season, which I will say rude, I thought it would be a wonderful time just to sit and experience the adventures of the Doctor going through this season. And with this being Ncuti Gatwa's first time as the Doctor and their first season, I thought I would give my review as to how I think they did this season. But what do you think? Do you think this was a good season? Well, why don't you sit down, get yourself comfy, grab yourself a nice drink, as I give my review on Season 1 of the new era of Doctor Who. And promise me when I say that this is going to be spectacular. So I'll try to not go too deep in detail with each episode, and some may be longer than the others, but hopefully you guys can bear with me as I talk about each episode. Well, actually, you have no choice. I'm the Master, and you will obey me. Space Babies. Okay, I can honestly say that, without a shadow of a doubt, that this was not a strong opening for the season. I mean, the whole idea of talking babies, have you ever guys seen Baby Genius? No? Well, too bad. Here it is. You're welcome, Internet. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was an okay episode, but not a strong one to open the season up, in my opinion. I mean, the whole idea of babies that are controlling a ship, and then there's a robot nanny that is actually a human in the closet, and that the villain of this was just a creature made of all bogies. I meant, it's not bad, but it's not great. You see what I did there? Yeah, bless you. The Devil's Cord. Okay, now this was an excellent episode. This was a brilliant banger of an episode to start a series on. And not only does it have music and an awesome dress sense that Ncuti pulls off extremely well, to be honest, he has done that for the entire season, and him and Ruby look absolutely top-notch brilliant in all of their costumes. But also as well, we're introduced to a new god and the child of the toy maker, which is the Maestro, who is played by none other than the diva herself, Jinx Monsoon. And I love Jinx because her work on RuPaul's Drag Race and then in theatre and on Broadway with Chicago and Little Shop of Horrors was absolutely brilliant to bring into this role. So to see Jinx grace Doctor Who with their performance as an unhinged god was sheer brilliant. There were nice little fourth wall breaks throughout the episode, and we also learned a new word as well. Non-diegetic, to which means being a type of sound that the character in the shows are unable to hear, but the audience can. That was brilliant, and not the first time we're given a quick lesson from the Doctor.
Google it.
Boom! Now we've had the fun and the light side of the Doctor, of what we saw with Ncuti. Now we're given something completely different, and we get to witness Ncuti's skills when it comes to a serious situation. Put the Doctor in a dire place without their tools and basically left to keep a neutral emotion, or otherwise they will die. Oh, that was brilliant, and especially as well when the dire situation is that you're standing on a Roomba. I mean, a landmine. Honestly, I think that's something I actually need if I want to destroy the Doctor. Hi, I'd like to file a report. I believe someone has been using my credit card without my authorization. Because I didn't end up buying 17 bloody Roombas from Amazon, someone else did. Oh, why would you think I need 17 bloody Roombas roaming around my house? Ow! Yes, I'll hold. No, that's not a clean. That's not a clean. Yes, I'm still on hold.
73 yards. So this was kind of interesting to watch because at the end of it, it kind of made me think what was going on. But at the same time, it was interesting to put in a situation of what would happen if the companion is abandoned by the doctor, basically is followed around by a strange being, and basically they're on their own. Definitely, this was a brilliant performance from Millie as well in undergoing this journey of trying to understand from her travels of what is happening. And I won't lie when I say that walked away from this episode with more questions than answers. Seeing Gemma Redgrave reprise her role as Kate Lethbridge Stewart does always make me feel awesome, and it does give a reassurance that not all was lost and that unit is still helping in the Doctor's absence. But again, this episode did leave me with more questions than it did answers. Dot and Bubble. Never have I thought that by the end of this episode that I was rooting more for the slugs to come out as the victors than I were for the humans. The whole dystopia of everyone being a rich kid just really got under my skin, and every time I saw Pepper open her mouth and treat the Doctor as she did in this episode, just made me think of this.
Zeus, would it be wrong to punch a child?
But honestly, that's what makes a performance so brilliant. If you can walk away from an episode and have feelings of, I really don't like this character and it really upset me that I think, oh god, I just want to give her a good smack in a gob, then you know you've done your performance perfectly. Callie Cook, who played Pepper, did an outstanding performance playing as a girl who basically had her own head up her ass, and oh god, from start to finish, just every time she came on screen and every time she talked just made me feel like, oh god, no, please, slugs, eat her now. This shows the commitment that Callie was able to put into this performance, because if you could play a character to which overall has people thinking, oh god, no, I really wish that you had lost in this episode, then you know you've done your performance perfectly. And to overall see the Doctor's reaction in the end, to see all that they have worked in helping these people only to be turned around and to be treated with disrespect and just had everything thrown back in their face, it makes them think that not all people will be grateful to the actions of saving them. Once again, rooting for the slugs. Rogue. What? So the Doctor shared a love interest with someone else that wasn't with me. You know, I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous whatsoever. You're jealous. I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. Seriously though, this was a beautifully written episode. I mean, you had a species in which loved to cosplay as other human beings, and also including as well a theme in which screams Bridgerton throughout was sheer brilliant. But to also add a love interest for the Doctor, to which honestly, I think we were kind of owed, you know, from the Jodie Whittaker's era. Hashtag Tasman. I think it's safe to say that the Rogue will be back. Soon you'll see. He'll remember the Doctor belongs to me. It was a bit of a stretch, but still, Rogue. The Legend of Ruby Sunday. First of a two-part finale of this season, and I was quite happy to see that we were taken back to unit headquarters, even though that where they are right now really does show their ego from what it used to be. Yeah. All wink wink and nudge nudge, say no more, to here we are, up in the sky! TARDIS acronym was really obvious, and it was seen throughout the internet even before the episode was aired. But to try and get the idea of Susan Twist apparently being the Doctor's daughter, I'm not gonna lie, it made me groan a bit. Because honestly, if you want to bring the Doctor's granddaughter being Susan back into this show, then there's got to be only one Susan, and that is Carol Ann Ford. If honestly the Doctor doesn't get to visit her Susan before Carol Ann departs from the show, then that would be a bit of a heartbreaker. But honestly, I would love to have the Doctor go back and actually go face to face with Susan maybe one last time. But you never know, time will tell. Time will tell. However, on the subject of classic episodes of Doctor Who, I was really surprised and thrilled to see that we had a returning character coming back into Doctor Who. That was not me, again, rude, but none other than Sutekh. Now, this was someone I did not expect to see return, and the build-up to it was amazing. That by the end of this episode, when it was left on a cliffhanger, I was basically asking, is that it? Is there more? I need to know! I need to know now! Empire of Death. The final episode of this season honestly made me feel somewhat content with having all of these questions answered by the end of this episode, and some of them in which I was quite happy to see, some in which I know that the internet would be bitching about. I did quite like the idea of having a memory TARDIS making its return back into a full episode of Doctor Who. It was very charming, and I love seeing some of the nostalgia of the previous Doctors just tied into this memory TARDIS. And if you haven't already, go check it out on the BBC iPlayer, Tales of the TARDIS, or you can find it on streaming services. They are really wonderful episodes just to tell stories from the Doctor's previous adventures. The origin to how Sutekh managed to survive from the pyramids of Mars to where we are right now was absolutely interesting, and how he was saying, oh yeah, I clinged onto the TARDIS and I stayed there through all of this time. It makes me think now, if I don't have anything Sorry, I had to check on something. No strays. Build up to the showdown with Sutekh was absolutely amazing to see, and including as well on how they managed to have Sutekh defeated. That was really nice to see, and honestly you can tell where majority of the budget went for this season. But after all of that, we were still left with one more question in which needed to be answered, and that was, who is Ruby's mother? And the answer was some random woman. You know what? I'm fine with that. That's the thing. I saw a lot of this just creeping around on the internet of people making theories that, oh yes, it's River Song's daughter. Oh yes, it's the Doctor's daughter. Oh yes, it's this person or this person. It's Jack's daughter. It's like, no, enough of that. It's perfectly fine, boys and girls, to have someone who is not tied into the Doctor Who universe. It's perfectly fine to have someone normal and without it being something so big or grand or majestic. I quite liked how the Doctor worded this situation, and honestly I can't agree with him anymore. You take a situation as we had with Ruby's mother. You let it boil, you let it, fill up into an idea in which would be something so grand, so majestic. You get an answer in which you think, oh my god, it is brilliant, it is perfect, and becomes so powerful, more powerful than any Time Lords, and more powerful than Sutekh himself, that even he didn't know what the answer was. Honestly, that's the beauty of the writing here at Doctor Who. You take situations in which builds up into something that can either be a big crescendo ending, or basically something as simple as, this is Ruby's mother. And honestly, I was quite happy to see how they wrapped that up for this season. So, there we go. We have season 1 of Doctor Who in the bag, and then we have the Christmas special coming very soon, and I can't wait to see what happens there. And to be honest, I can really go for a cheese and ham sandwich and a hot cocoa roundabout now. No reason. I just came into my head. But I really hope that you enjoyed these videos, and I really hope you enjoyed this review. If you want to see more of videos like this in the future, please let me know by either liking the page or subscribing or commenting down below. What was your favourite episode this season? I would love to hear your input. But until then, I'm the Welsh Master, and I shall see you... No, not having that. Excuse me, I gotta go deal with a stray. No, out! Out, 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 out.
And what happens, you might wonder? Oh, what happens to that mysterious traveler in time and space? I'm sorry to say his story ends in absolute terror. Night-night.